it's very important to have the right amount of antibiotics for the dose. There's a couple different reasons why. One is underdosing. So if you underdose something, I get the question all the time, it's like, Doc, this antibiotic doesn't work, this treatment doesn't work. Well, you look and they're only giving about half the dose they're supposed to be. And it may not be the antibiotic's fault, we just may not be giving enough or the right amount of time. The other problem is overdosing. And why don't you want to overdose? Well, one is it costs more money. We know things are tight right now. We don't want to use more antibiotic than we have to, number one. Number two, we don't want to create any residue problems. We don't want to have antibiotics longer in the meat than what's on the label. So those are the main reasons we want to make sure we know what weight that we're treating when you give an antibiotic dose. Or let's say we estimate at 1,200, it's actually 1,500 pounds. You're 300 pounds off. So that's what, roughly a 20% reduction in the amount of product. So is that directly at 20% not working as effectively? I mean, we don't know all those answers, but we know it's not going to be working as effectively as it should. And if it's not working as effectively as it should, you may have to end up treating that animal longer for more days, which is in the long run going to cost you more money, where if we use the right dose right away, we'd have a more effective treatment. We're not very accurate when we're doing weights. A lot of it's estimating, looking at the size of the cow. There are some things, if you don't have a scale, you can use. One is called a dairy weigh tape. You measure the heart girth right behind the front shoulder. But there's some variation in those as well, but that's the cheapest and easiest way, to do it. You can also use just a regular tape measure and go around, and there's some charts on the internet that you can do that correlation yourself. What we recommend a lot of guys do is look at when you sell cows to the market, look at your weigh slips you get back from the stockyard and see what those weights are to help you zero in more on what your body weights are of your cows. But I think in the industry what we're going to have to go to more is actually getting scales on the farm. And you can get like a platform scale that's digital, battery operated, so you could put it in a return alley for a couple $1,000s. And cows are used to going through foot baths, and it wouldn't be too much work to get them through the scale. It'll give you a weight range, and usually you'll round to the nearest 100 pounds, and a lot of them will have the scale right on there. So if you're not good at math like me, sometimes you'll have to look at the box, and it'll say if the dose is 1.5 cc's per 100 pounds, it'll tell you what it is. For 1,000 pounds, it's 15 cc's. For 1,100 pounds, it'll be 16.5 cc's. So we usually try to get to the nearest 100 pounds when we're doing a dose. All we have on our label is, using the right dose, what the withdrawal time would be. So once we extend, say if we give the product more in the wrong spot, or we give it more often than it's recommended or longer than it's recommended, then we have to adjust those withdrawals using our technical knowledge and those other resources that are available. We like to have all of our farms have protocols that are written down for medications and the diseases they're treating. And we like to review those annually because things change, and sometimes different products become available, that you might be able to use, and sometimes products go off the market as well. But we think it's good to review it annually, but we really like to have that written SOP or protocol sheet for them. And then it also helps when they bring in new employees as well for training purposes. And then some of our larger farms, we even have meetings with the employees where we'll go through training, or how do we want these medications administered, what types of needles do we want, what sizes of needles, how many doses, how many cc's in an injection site do we want to use. So, because there's a lot of different things that can affect, not just the dose of not necessarily the weight and the dose, but how many actually cc's you put in each injection site, because you can overdo that as well.